Storytelling is one of the highest leverage skills you can learn in the 21st century. And today, I'm going to teach you how to master this really important skill. Today I want to focus on high impact storytelling because storytelling is a broad topic, but I want to teach you how to tell stories that make an impact in the world. So this is great for founders, creators, leaders of any kind, but really anyone who just wants to make a big impact in the world. So I think high impact storytelling is emotive, it's engaging, and it actually inspires action. I think these three combinations, it'll take a normal story into something that can have a huge impact on people's lives. So think about like Steve Jobs' college graduation speech or Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. I think it's a force multiplier on basically any professional skill set you can have. So if you're in marketing, storytelling can help your brand connect to audiences in a deeper way. If you are a founder or product manager, you are able to create a vision and inspire your team to execute that vision. And let's say you're in finance, storytelling can help you win customers, help you raise money. It makes your existing skill set that much stronger and more impactful. One fun fact is that stories are remembered up to 22 times more than data. I used to think that storytelling was this God-given talent, but after 15 plus years of studying this craft, I realized that if you break it down smartly, it's really a skill that almost anyone can just get better at. With storytelling, there are 3 levels, and as you go higher up the levels, they become more powerful and impactful. The first level is just information. On the first level, you still need the basics of a story, which is the beginning, middle, and end. But probably just feels like I'm giving information to you. So it's like yesterday, I went to the grocery store and I bought some bread and then brought it back home and we made dinner. So that's like the fundamentals of a story, but it's really just facts. I think that all great storytellers can write well with speeches, with a screenplay, with even practicing communication with a camera. It really starts with writing because writing produces clear thinking and clear thinking creates better stories. This is especially true for the nonfiction genre. Another thing that is really helpful for just getting this level 1 storytelling right is to create a story bank. And a story bank is just a collection of little things that happen in your life or just ideas that pop in your head. So when you need to tell a story, you are not scrambling in your empty mind for ideas because you just have this bank that's prepared for you that you can pull from. This is my brother.
Oh, is that a new camera?
Yeah. We are doing some planning for the film shoot in Hong Kong this December. Super excited to do it. Johnny's going to be acting in it, and it's going to be a blast. Right now we're trying to find a female lead, and so far only our mom has applied, so. Number 3 is to use proven structures and frameworks. For example, I told you about the 3-act structure, beginning, middle, and end. I think that's the basics of a story. But of course, with advertisers, they like to use a framework called AIDA, attention, interest, desire, action. And then there's another one by Aaron Sorkin, and he says, I praise at the altar of intention and obstacle. And it helps you take these disparate thoughts and all of these ideas that you have in your head and create some structure around it so you can deliver it to an audience in a way that's not only engaging but clear and organized. Level 2 is a bit more impactful, and you see this in movies where you might feel something, you might cry, you might laugh, and emotions are powerful because it's engaging and it takes you beyond the facts, beyond what is happening. And so to be emotive in your storytelling, one thing is to just bring your humanity into it. What I mean by that is tell a story using characters, because ultimately your audience is human. The more of a human connection there is between your story and the audience, the better it'll land. And in order to bring your humanity, I think it's really important to understand yourself. And this is tied to being authentic, because if you understand yourself, you know what it means to be true to yourself. And so when you tell stories, it doesn't feel like you're faking it. You're really saying it from the heart. The audience will know when you are saying it from the heart. The first step really is to understand, who am I? And a lot of people don't really take the time and effort to try to do that, which is why I'm providing some services, some coaching to help you actually figure out like, who are you at your core and how can you utilize it to become a better, more authentic storyteller. Another element to this is really to talk to one person. Sean Puri in My First Million, he talks about how when they tell a story, they're focused on speaking to Nancy at her desk. Now, Nancy at her desk is this fictional character who, is bored at work and is maybe flipping through YouTube. And, you have to be empathetic to that person. And that's kind of my last point, which is to be empathetic to your audience, read the room, because when I'm telling a story to my wife, it's totally different emotion and content when I'm talking to 10 of my colleagues or pitching an investor. You really have to be aware of who you're talking to in order to be a good storyteller and to really pull those emotions out of them in the right way. Now, the third, I think, most powerful form of storytelling is influence. And of course, you can use this for good, and you can also use this to be manipulative. But I'm going to assume that you're a good person, so let's think about this in a more positive manner. To be a good storyteller at this level, the most basic thing is obviously including a call to action. After you tell a story, what do you want your audience to do? Do you want them to exercise more? Do you want them to invest in your company? That is a really key thing, because you can tell a wonderful story, create these emotions, and they might just walk away feeling a bit inspired. And that's great. But I want to take us to the next level of true influence and changing behavior in your audience for the better. Understanding psychology, of course, is a huge topic, but I'd recommend reading the book Influence by Robert Cialdini, because he's able to break down a lot of how humans break down how you can influence people from a psychological perspective. And if you take all of those ideas and fit it through storytelling and use those tools in a more authentic way, that's going to help you influence your audience. And lastly, in businesses, we always talk about how, if you create a landing page, social proof is super important. And social proof is an uncommon version of storytelling, but there is storytelling within social proof. If I'm telling you something and I mention that this has worked for others, then you're probably going to believe me and actually create action in your life. And actually, one thing I forgot to add is to become a generalist in storytelling. And what I mean is, when you have a wide range of skills like writing, public speaking, design, you are able to become a much stronger storyteller. Imagine you know how to work with video and then design beautiful animations and then write a wonderful, clear script. That's going to improve your chances of creating a high impact story for your audience. And I want to end with 2 bonus tips. So I think it's really important to, especially when you're a creator or a founder, to see storytelling not as something where you're getting something out of your audience for your own sake, but you're seeing it as an act of service. Once you do that little reframe, it can be really helpful in, first of all, not making you feel like, oh, this is all about you, and you're kind of focused on yourself and getting into your own head. So when you see it as a service, I think the quality of your content actually becomes better, because you are coming from a place of like wanting to help others. And of course, because I think storytelling is a skill, anyone can get better at it. When I started recording videos like 3 years ago, I was terrible at talking to the camera. And I'm sure there's a lot of things I can improve as well, but I can guarantee you that today I can speak to the camera much better than I could 2 years ago. That's kind of it for today. Just to wrap up, I really want to hone in on the idea that storytelling is an art, but it's also a science. And what that means is it's a skill that you can really learn and understand from first principles. It's not this big, intimidating, abstract thing. We are humans and we are wired to tell stories. No matter who you are, what life stage you're in, what profession you're in, you can absolutely get better at storytelling, and this is a skill that you can invest in for life. You can always get better at it, no matter what stage you are in life. Number 2, storytelling can really help you in your career and help you make lots of money, because if you can tell a great story with an exciting vision or in a way that connects with other humans in a real, authentic, powerful way, people will support you. People will invest in you. People will buy your product. or service, people will trust you. And number 3, this is a little less related to professional life, but I think that becoming a storyteller is going to help you in your personal life because it makes you more inquisitive. It makes you see your own life as a story, and through that reflection, it'll make you want to perhaps change your life and live your life in a different way, because you're also thinking about not only what your story has been in the past, but what story do you want to write for yourself in the future. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn how to become a better storyteller, check out the link below, and I will see you next time.